Hello everyone. So today we are here to discuss chapter Improvement in Food Resources. So here, improvement, this word is related and it comes in our mind whenever we imagine that yes, there is an area of scope or to do more better. For example, if you have scored 70% in your exams and your family members suggest that if you keep on practicing the diagrams in biology, you can score more. It means then it comes in your mind that yes, still there is an area where I can improve. So you can improve the area. So that is the improvement. It means the scope for doing more better work. Now, if I talk about in the reference of food resources, it means the food resources. We get food from various resources and there are total majorly 2 resources which we get from the plants and animals, and there are various sources which are provided by plants and animals. So in this chapter we are going to study about the improvement in food resources. What's the need for the improvement in food resources? How the improvement of food resources has been done, and how does the improvement in food resources beneficial for both of the farmers and people. Now, first come to the importance of food. There are various importance of food which includes, for example, a balanced diet. If we take a balanced diet, it means all the food components are present in that diet, like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. All such components are present in our food. They have their own importance and perform specific functions in our body. It means all the components or all the food components are essential for our body. For example, if I talk about proteins, then proteins are required by our body to develop and repair our muscles and tissues. Similarly, some dairy products are consumed because they provide proteins and calcium. Fats and oils are consumed to get energy from them. Fruits provide us vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are also known as protective food. Protective foods are those foods which protect us from various types of diseases. Now come to vegetables. Vegetables provide us roughage. Roughage lowers down our cholesterol level as well as increases our rate of digestion. Water carries oxygen and nutrients to our cells. Whole grains and other carbohydrate-rich foods provide us energy. So, this is how the food we take, we consume, plays a very important role in our daily life. We get energy. The various life processes like nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion. To carry out all these processes, we require energy. And we get that energy from the food we intake. So the food is majorly divided into 3 parts: energy-giving food, protective food, and body-building food. First, let's see about the energy-giving food and their sources. Energy-giving food are carbohydrates and fats. Very good sources of carbohydrates and fats are potato, wheat, rice, etc. Now come to protective food. Protective food protects us from various types of diseases. Those include vitamins and minerals. Their deficiency can cause many diseases in our body. Now come to bodybuilding food, and their good sources are fruits, which includes both dry fruits and normal fleshy fruits, vegetables. Now come to bodybuilding foods. Bodybuilding food is protein. Protein form the bodybuilding food, and the common sources of proteins are dairy products, which include milk, curd, cheese, etc. So it is clear from the energy-giving food, bodybuilding food and protective food that all the sources are obtained from either plants or animals. So the major sources of food are plants and animals. We get food from the plants by the practice known as agriculture. In agriculture, various crops are cultivated of good quality, and in animals we can say that practice where the animals are taken care, that is known as animal husbandry, which includes the rearing, breeding, vaccination and many other practices which are related to the animals. Let's see some of the food sources of both plants and animals. From plants, we get these foods including banana, watermelon, oil. It can be included as edible oil, peas or green vegetables like coriander. Now, food from animals are fish, eggs, cheese, butter, milk. Now, there are two practices about which we have just discussed, that is agriculture and animal husbandry. Agriculture is shown by this image and this. And these two images, this one and this one, it is for the animal husbandry. Now, a question arises that why is this necessary to improve the food resources and their production? We are getting the various food resources from the agriculture and animal husbandry, which are the major practices related to this field. Then why is it necessary to or improve those food resources and their production? This is necessary step because of the population growth. The population in our country is rising day by day. So to meet the requirement of each and every person, to make them available the good quality of food, the improvement practices are needed. to reduce the risk of hunger and poverty also. This is because making the food available is not sufficient. So this is for the cheaper price for poor people, so that even they can access the better quality of food. Next is malnutrition. There are several regions in our country where the people are suffered from malnutrition. They are suffered from marasmus and kwashiorkor-like diseases. Where carbohydrates and proteins are deficient in their diet. The diet which they follow is not rich in various food components. This is why they are having the nutritional deficiencies. Next is food shortages. Because of rising the population or the growth in population, the food shortage is there. Not all the persons are getting the right access and sufficient quantity of the food. This is why the improvement in food resources is required, so that the higher yields can be produced and those food can be reached or given to everyone. Now, another need is environmental sustainability. This is to implement various modern techniques or practices without causing any harm to our environment. This is implementing sustainable farming techniques, reducing waste, conserving natural resources, and minimizing the environmental impact of agriculture. Next is for the economic development, which leads to the increased productivity. Increased productivity is required to meet the requirement of everyone in our country. Next is income generation. Most of the people in our country belong from those areas where poverty is dominant. In that case, if they are dependent on the land or the practices where they can have the agricultural practices, in that case, they can generate their income with the land provided to them. Next is economic growth. Many cereals or pulses, or we can say various crops which are hybrid with good quality of characters. Those quality of characters are inherited in some plants, and those plants or crops are exported to other states, and those crops are exported to other countries also. So they are for economic growth. Next is benefiting farmers. This is because farmers can have the maximum benefit from the crops they produce. Rural communities, for the people who are in the group of such practices or to follow such practices, and national economies. Overall, the contribution of farmers led to the national economy rising. Next is climate change resilience, genetically modified crops. GMCs are here genetically modified crops. So here climate change resilience means because nowadays the temperature fluctuates a lot. Moreover, the weather is not suitable to crops in certain areas. Even the weather is not suitable. Now, in climate change resilience, we talk about genetically modified crops. It means to develop such variety of crops or such variety of plants in which the desirable characters can be seen or developed. For example, if I talk about the crop plant 1 and this is the crop plant 2. This is the plant in which we can say or we can see that some genes are present which are responsible to make this crop better adapted to the temperature ranges or different temperature ranges. This crop variety can withstand different range of temperature. And this crop variety can withstand the different weather conditions. If the gene from this plant and gene from this plant is incorporated in a different variety, which is resultant as the offspring of these two varieties. In that case, in this crop, we can see the inherited characters that now this variety is able to withstand wide range of temperature as well as fluctuations in the weather as well as temperature. So this is the hybrid variety. So this is the genetically modified crop. It means at the genetic level or by manipulating the genes, the crops are modified and produced. Now come to health and nutrition. So our health so the state of our health or our well-being is directly proportional to the good quality of food or nutrition we intake. For example, if we are taking vitamin A rich food, it means we are less prone to have night blindness disease, which can be caused by the deficiency of vitamin A in our diet. Similarly, if the quantity of vitamin D is less as compared to the fixed standard which is set for the daily requirement, then we can have a disease known as rickets, where our bones and teeth may be affected. So nowadays, many crops have been cultivated in which vitamin A, vitamin D and many other nutrition qualities have been implemented so that we can get multiple number of nutrients like vitamin A, D, C, K along with many minerals plus carbohydrates, fats and roughage. So from a single food, we can get multiple number of nutrients. So breeding of improved nutritional profiles, reducing the use of harmful chemicals, because harmful chemicals cause many diseases in our body. Harmful chemicals and pesticides may cause our bones weak. Moreover, they can cause many respiratory diseases also. To fight all these factors, scientists are implementing some varieties which are free of harmful chemicals, in which there is no need to put chemicals or pesticides. Those varieties are resistant already. Now, promoting diverse and balanced diet to address malnutrition and diet-related health issues about which we have just discussed. Now, scientific management practices. Scientific management practices have been implemented where various scientific methods are used to improve the variety of crops. Mixed farming, intercropping and integrated farming practices. So such farming practices are taken into account so that there can be the improvement among crop varieties. For example, combine agriculture with livestock, poultry, fisheries, beekeeping. So for example, let's take an example. In paddy field, since we know that in paddy field the rice are grown. So the rice is grown in an environment which is rich in water. Adequate amount of water is needed for a paddy field. Since the amount of water is maximum in paddy field, it can be used to culture the fish there. So around 5 to 6 species of fish can be cultured in the paddy field where already the water is present. So the water which is present can be used for both the purposes, for paddy field as well as to culture the fish. And these 5 to 6 species are non-competent. They are not competent for their food. Now, come to Green Revolution. So, Green Revolution contributed increased food grain production. So, this was the period of significant advancements in agricultural practices and technologies because at that time agricultural practices and technologies were required to increase the production of grains and many other crops. This was aimed at increasing agricultural productivity and combating hunger and poverty, particularly in developing countries. Combating hunger and poverty. This is because not only it is required to have the food available, but that food must be in the range that every people can access that food, even the poor people also. Therefore, it was to combat hunger and poverty, particularly in some developing countries. After Green Revolution, let's have a look at the White Revolution. Since the term suggests us that White Revolution, it was a drastic change for the production of milk, since milk is white in color. So therefore, the increased production of the milk, or when the demand of milk production was higher that time, it led to the White Revolution, to better and more efficient use and availability of milk. Since milk provides us many important nutrients. For example, calcium, vitamin D, carbohydrates, fats, etc. Milk is very important for our health, particularly for our bones and teeth. This was aimed to transform the country's dairy industry and increase milk production by 3 methods. Those 3 methods are adoption of modern technologies, improved animal husbandry practices, establishment of dairy cooperatives. Adoption of modern technologies, it means the various technologies which can be implemented to increase the production of milk. In this, we can study about those suction machines by which the milk can be extracted from the animals. Improved animal husbandry practices. Animal husbandry practices include some of the various practices like vaccination, so that the animals can have a disease-free life. Next, to provide them good shelter, to provide them food which is according to the need of the animals. Next, proper temperature should be provided, proper sunlight should be provided. Moreover, their habitats must be taken care of, as the slope should be there to the area where they are standing. This is just to keep the surface dry, because the excess water can be drained out if the surface is little bit slow. Next, the establishment of dairy cooperatives led to the various companies from where the food can be made accessible to people.